With the $5 meal deal at McDonald's, you pick a McDouble or a McChicken, then get a small fry, a small drink, and a 4-piece McNuggets. That's a lot of McDonald's for not a lot of money.
Price and participation may vary. For a limited time only.
The holidays are all about sharing with family. Meals, couches, stories, Grandma's secret pecan pie recipe. And now you can also share a cart with Instacart Family Carts. Everyone can add what they want to one group cart from wherever they are. So you don't have to go from room to room to find out who wants cranberry sauce, or whether you should get mini marshmallows for the yams, or collecting votes for sugar cookies versus shortbread. Just share a cart, and then share the meals and the moments. Download the Instacart app and get delivery in as fast as 30 minutes. Plus, enjoy free delivery on your first 3 orders. Service fees and terms apply.
You better not have no plans tonight.
Movie time and it's feeling right.
You're looking for a love that lasts. You'll find it at Romancing the Podcast. Ooh, ooh, baby, you had me at hello. Ooh, I love you.
I know.
Ooh, ooh, baby, you're the wind beneath my wings. Ooh, I'll have what she's having.
I'm going to start recording so I can say that, you know what, if they hadn't fired her, she would have just gotten pushed down the stairs anyway. Thank you for tuning into Romancing the Pod. You had us at hello. I'm Paige Wesley.
And I'm Todd Schlosser. And this week, Paige made us watch The
Merry Gentleman.
I hope you can hear the hip sway in my voice. Paige, this is clearly the first time you watched it because it came out 7 minutes ago.
Yep.
Literally, it came out yesterday.
It did indeed. There will be pretty much no fun facts other than what I found from Googling, is Chad Michael Murray's hair real, all afternoon.
Oh, you mean his, so close to flock of seagulls, but still getting away with it vibe? Yeah, I liked it, though.
The swoop's a little out of control.
It honestly defies all logic, but whatever. It looks great.
It does, but based on my research, I think it might be real.
Okay, if it's real, his hair's doing push-ups every morning.
I mean, I'm sure there's volumizing stuff in it. They styled it for sure, but okay.
Welcome back to Cosmo Corner, where Paige breaks down everyone's hairdo. Top 10 hairdos from The Merry Gentleman.
I just have so many thoughts about...
Oh, about this movie in general?
But yeah, so last night, a friend had a birthday party, and it was at a karaoke bar, and I went and sat next to one of her friends that I did not know. And her and another girl and I sang backup for everyone's karaoke, just hanging out.
That sounds like a good time to me.
Right? We were having a blast. But finally, it's time for the friend that I have now just met to go up. And she sang, and I don't know if this is the universe sending a message, but she sang the One Tree Hill theme song for her karaoke song, which, Todd, I don't even have to ask if you watched One Tree Hill. I know you didn't. But I also think you might know the theme song because it was kind of a rocky song that was out at the time and might have been something you would have listened to completely absent from the TV show. But when I tell you that an entire room of people sang along and knew all the words to that song, I was baffled. I was like, how do I even know these words? I didn't watch One Tree Hill, but I knew the song. How familiar are you with the stylings and artistry of Gavin DeGraw?
First off, Paige, how dare you assume I didn't watch a TV show I definitely never watched, but still.
That's right.
But Gavin DeGraw I've heard of. I think he won an award show competition thing, right? Was Simon Cowell nice to him? I don't know.
No, probably not. But are you familiar with the I don't want to be anything
other than what I've been
trying to be lately.
I don't know the words to the rest of this part right here. Yeah.
All I have to do is think of me, and I have peace
that
of
song
mind.
was everywhere.
Exactly.
Is that the One Tree Hill song? Okay.
That's the One Tree Hill theme song.
But that is just One Tree Hill using the only Gavin DeGraw song anyone knows.
So, fun fact, and this is the only reason I know this, I was a weirdly big Gavin DeGraw fan because he has another song that's not the theme song that is actually really good. And I was like, who did this? And he was like plucked from obscurity for the One Tree Hill theme song, and that's why that song got famous.
Well, it's way better than it has
any right to be. Yes.
Although this movie is like a who's who, like a murderer's row of who you'd see in like Cosmo's CW stars. Where are they now? Online edition article. You know what I'm saying?
Yes. Well, including her older sister, who I'm looking it up now because that was the one thing I didn't get a chance to look up. But I know she was in a bunch of shit back in the day.
Her sister? Yeah, that was Maria Sokolov.
Yes!
Sorry, not Maria, it's Marla Sokolov.
Yeah, Marla Sokolov. And I was like, that's where I've fucking seen her. But her hair was different in this, and it was tough. The trivia section of this IMDb is blank. But
now you know where she gets her fun facts, by the way. You just expose yourself, Paige.
Whatever. I Google around to find other things.
Maybe it's research. Maybe it's IMDb trivia page.
But I also come up with weird questions for myself and go a-Googling.
I know, and I love when you do.
But last night I was like, is Chad Michael Murray speaking to me from beyond to tell me about this movie?
Oh, yes, Paige. Chad Michael Murray has been every time he's been on the screen talking to you specifically, and I need you to boil that down into what is he saying to you. And guys, if you have watched a lot of Chad Michael Murray's catalog, let's all just assume he was talking about Paige in every one of those scenes. And let's reach out, guys. Let's find out how to reach out.
Oh my God. I think I need to assassinate a president.
Oh, this went south so fast. So fast, guys.
I'm
please,
kidding.
no.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I have terrible aim. Anyway, last time I saw Chad Michael Murray was on Riverdale, where he played a hot cult leader for like 2.5 seasons. But he built a rocket to take his followers to a different planet, and then he boards the rocket. I'm pretty sure he dies. I don't really remember. That show was a fever dream. But in that, he had a full head of what looked like much more natural hair.
Holy shit, we're still talking about the hair? This whole story was tucked into like a story about his hair? That's how we got Paige.
I needed to close the loop on the hair.
Oh, that's a huge fucking loop.
Thank you. I mean, I don't trust my own eyes and my ability to gauge wigs after I watched something earlier this year with someone who has admittedly fantastic hair in person, because I've seen them in person, and then found out that they were wearing a crazy wig that looked like their own hair. I was like, why did we wig this? Anyway, I think it's his real hair, and that's crazier. Like, if it was a wig, I was like, well, yeah, it's a Netflix movie and the budget is not there, so like, yeah, it's a wig. No, I think that's his real fucking hair, and that's weirder. That's frankly way weirder.
I think he looks great. Paige, he takes his shirt off like 9 times in this movie, and you're like, I don't know, man, his hair seemed unbelievable. He has a 9-pack. You could bounce a corner off his backboard, and you're like, the hair was the only thing I could keep my eyes on.
The shirtlessness is not one of my complaints about this movie.
Oh really? I am not at all surprised.
Many other complaints. And here's the thing. I will say, if you're a lady of my age who knew that Gavin DeGraw song, yeah, it's free on Netflix. Fucking watch it and flick your bean to it. I don't give a shit. But like, this movie feels like they gave a screenwriter 60 minutes to try and write it.
And goddamn it, Paige, they did. They were like, this movie's 84 minutes, so I gotta write a minute point 4 every minute until we get there. We got there, guys. We got there. And honestly, I respect any time Netflix is like, find me a screenwriter who's willing to do the literal minimum. Let's find him and throw a little bit of money at him and just churn out some shit. And they did in this movie.
I don't want to I don't know whose fault it was, or if they just stole someone's notes and were like, this seems like enough, and then made the movie. But there are so many. Like, there's one scene early in the movie, and I will point it out when we get there, where I want to play guess which scene came first in the writing process, because I have a theory. But then on top of that, there's like story points that are out of order. That I'm like, who would write this way? Like, why? That like, literally you could paint by numbers this movie and it would be better. Like, this is wild. And Maxwell Caulfield hangs dong. He doesn't hang dong, but he is shirtless in this. And I'm just like, they made Rex Manning strip for this? Like, it was
But Paige, weren't you like, finally?
Yes, because they've been hinting at it the whole time.
I know. You're like, fine, let's, yes.
The second they were like, it's Michael from Grease 2, and he's sitting at the bar, and you think he's just an old man, I was like, that guy's gonna strip. Like, definitely.
I mean, but he is an old man, though. Like, he an old man, though.
Yes.
The dude was in Grease 2.
The dude was in Grease 2, and he is gorgeous in Grease 2. But I am here for a melting pot of male reviews, right? Like, I don't mind putting an old guy up there. I don't mind. Put it all up there. Let all the ladies enjoy. But this movie acting like we didn't know that was going to happen for like 45 minutes was driving me insane, Todd. I was like, it's Rex Manning. Like, of course.
Guys, we know.
We all know. Why'd you put a hat on him? Like, why are you doing
Because
that?
they have a hat in the dance they're doing. Also, in that dance, when they're like, I don't think we can do it with 4 people. Or with 3 people, we need 4 people. They're like failing in wrong ways for like having one less, like the people in the front where the other person would not be run into each other. And then they're just like dropping their canes and off beat. That is not like the problems you experience when you're a man down.
Let me tell you something. One time when I was doing Singing in the Rain, the choreographer got really mad at the girl who was on the line next to me and made her tap dance behind a tree. And it did not change anything about the dance that she was in a different place. You just were like, watch out, Athena's there, and like danced around it, right? So like if she had just not been there, nothing would have changed. I would have continued to tap dance on wet wood. But like they suddenly can't do it. But also any time, any rehearsal, any choreography, anything we see of them learning the dances is not at all the dance that happens once the show happens.
Well, no, they have many different dances. This is like Chippendales. They got hours to perform. It's not one dance.
No, I know, but like completely different kinds of dances where she's like she's trying to choreograph.
Yeah.
And she's like grapevine, jazz hands. And then when it gets to the show, they're like pelvic thrust.
Yeah, it's almost like the main like actress lady who is like the choreographer of the show and is in what I'm assuming is like, I don't know. It's like a local adult recreational tap class performance that they do annually because they're not very good.
Oh, you mean the fake Rockettes at the beginning?
They're not yeah, sure.
They're supposed to be.
I
They're
get
supposed
that's
to be
what
the
they're
Rockettes.
supposed to be. The Rockettes I've seen and they're very impressive. This is a tap show that it really is just like a bunch of people who started doing tap this morning doing a performance. And I'm expected to believe that this person can dance.
Very slowly moving their arms and feet in unison.
It's very clearly a tap performance, and you almost never see their feet.
Never.
It is so funny to me.
Never. It's just somebody with a Foley and shoes off screen. But like, but when he's like, I don't know, I don't think we could learn the dances, and she's like, here, let me teach you. And then they ballroom dance, they like waltz, and I'm like, bitch, this ain't gonna teach anything. I need him grinding on the patrons. Like, what are we doing?
Also, Paige, in that scene where she's teaching him how to, quote, dance, it's like, I don't know, 10 days into their rehearsals. Like, he's been dancing for a while now. This should have happened day 1 or whatever. I also needed her to be a little bit more condescending because I really wanted, like, the gender flip of the, like, I don't know, toots, let me teach you how to golf. And they explain it to her like she's just been born that morning. Like, she was way too nice telling him how to dance.
Well, they also have no chemistry, Todd. I was begging. Like, now, granted, the kisses are good because that's the one thing about Netflix versus Hallmark is that Netflix will fucking give you that kiss action.
I mean, he picks her up at the end.
I know, it's hot. That's the only time that there is chemistry or anything because the whole rest of the time they are delivering lines that are the equivalent of stage directions. This is when I'm like, I feel like they took someone's notes about a movie they wanted to write and then tried to make a movie with the notes. And they didn't do the last portion of trying to layer in nuance with dialogue because it's just like, well, I brought your lunch. Thanks. It's good to have a lunch. Hey, what's under this? A table. Cool. Like, that's
We
it.
should make out now.
Let's make out next to the table.
Yeah. But that literally might be word for word that scene, Paige, because that's all I got from it.
Right? And I was like, what is this? And like, I think there's a part of me that's a little frustrated because like, is this absolutely a paint by numbers Christmas male stripper movie? Yes. Like when it is what it says on the box, sure. But I'm like, there are small tweaks and just another dialogue pass that could have made this really fun. And instead, you sit there the whole time like, is this finished? Like, did they finish it? I know I'm watching it right now, but I feel like they're not done. I don't know.
They didn't even bother to give anyone in their movie a last name, Paige, and you're asking for like, you're asking for like a better writing? Like,
No, she has a last name.
what is it?
Davis is her last name. Jessica Davis, I believe. Is it Jessica?
No, her name is Ashley. Oh
Ashley.
my God.
Ashley Davis. But she does have a last name. No one else seems to, though. It's like Luke Carpenter and like...
But you know what I'm saying. Like,
Yes.
this is the one move Paul Mescal would be like, no, that is content. How about that? Todd's got a topical joke. Watch out, nerds.
Okay, but like if you had released this in 1.5 to 3 minute increments on TikTok, I feel like the viewing experience would have been the same.
I'm gonna be honest with you, I could have watched this while pooping in the opposite format, like, horizontal, not vertical or whatever. Or no, the other way.
Right,
vertical,
right.
not horizontal.
Yeah,
and I would have been
vertical.
like, yeah, this is great.
Yeah. Just the songs, just the stripping songs.
That's the part I could leave. I could do without, which means for me, there's literally nothing in this movie because listen, they're in great shape.
Sure.
But like, that doesn't do it for me. So I was just like hanging out on my phone during those moments.
Well, and it's not a level of dancing that is impressive. Like Magic Mike, especially like, and I know you've only seen the second one, but remember in the second one where there's that like huge musical number at the end and it's all themed and it's different stuff and like...
and Channing Tatum, he can actually dance.
Right, he's fucking incredible.
He might not be able to read, but he can dance.
Oh my God, before I watched this today, I watched Wolverine versus Deadpool finally because I finally have time to myself right now. And I am here for his Gambit. Man, I fucking love Channing Tatum.
Wait, he's Gambit in that movie? I haven't seen it either. That's great, though. I can't wait to see it. I have not been avoiding it. Like, I would love to see it. And I don't care about spoilers. I'm going to forget.
No, I know. It's free on Disney Plus right now. But when I tell, he's like original, like Cajun Gambit and has an accent the whole time. And it's about as good as the first season of True Blood, which means... not that great, but good enough for it to be funny. And
Damn it, Cyclops.
It's not like Bill, but like the villain. Oh, wait, you haven't watched enough of first season of True Blood.
I watched the first season of True Blood.
Okay, spoilers for the first season of True Blood, I guess. You've had like 20 years. It's fine. Like Renee's fake Cajun accent. It's that. Like he's talking to Elektra and he's like, come on, Cher, you killed Magneto.
Like, he just starts everything with like, come on, Cher, you killed Magneto.
On, Cher, you killed Magneto.
Can't wait.
Tell them what happened here, Cher.
Hang on, Magneto's dead? Hang on.
Only one variant of Magneto. Also, that movie, everyone's like, yeah, you don't need to have seen anything else for it to make sense. And I'm like, thank God I watched Loki season 1 and 2, or else this would make no sense.
Oh, then I'm fucked because I haven't watched that.
I mean, they kind of try to explain it, and it has Wamsgans, so that's
I
fun.
love Wamsgans. I'll watch it. I'll watch that guy in anything.
He's in it a lot, so you'll enjoy that at least.
Him and Eddie Redmayne are like my two like UK bros that if I see them in anything, I'll probably watch it. Like I love them in movies. They're great.
See, I don't love Redmayne.
The first thing I ever saw him was Pillars of the Earth, and he was so good in it at a really young age. I was like, fuck, this guy's great. Anyway, we probably should cut like half of that and then...
Nah, leave it in. There's not going to be much else to talk about.
I mean, yeah, I'm worried about that. I did like that... Cut in here.
Or just leave it.
I did like that the better dancer you were in the movie was directly... Like, it was a great indicator as to how many lines you'd have. And the better dancing you did, the less talking you did on screen.
Less lines you had.
I love that.
That one background dancer where I was like, that guy is definitely a former Chippendale. And then,
Yeah, and his dialogue is like, yo.
Yeah.
And that's it.
I haven't seen Luke this happy in a long time. That's the only full line he has. Oh, God.
And the bartender, I'm 100% certain, is an alien trying to pretend he's human.
That's the guy I was talking about, but yeah.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Like the bartender is in nuts shape, great dancer, but his eyes are like the kind of, they just say, stop looking like an alien. Like he's like in his head about it. Like that's what his eyes are telling me.
If you told me that guy's only other credit was gigolos on Showtime, I would believe you because I'm like, that dude, like, you know, in Magic Mike XXL, when Joe Manganiello was like, I'm not a fireman, I'm a male entertainer. I feel like that's what's going on in that guy's head the entire time. And I was like, you're a male entertainer. I'll watch you dance as long as you want, sir. Because he really had that body roll going. But like, we get introduced to him once and then they never use his name again. So I'm just like, I don't know.
His name in the movie was Troy, but his real name in real life is way better, and it's Colt.
Okay, what else have I seen him in? Because he looks familiar. Is it Gigolos on Show?
Paige, would you be shocked to find out that he was the guy who was trying to start a rap career in Gigolos on Showtime? No, it's not.
I was going to say, it's not Nick.
No, it's definitely not Nick.
We know
he
who
didn't have a
Nick
weird
is.
tattoo. Whatever. Stop it. We got to stop talking about Gigolos.
Yeah, that tattoo is crazy. Anyway, but Colt, what else has he done?
He was in House of Lies. He's been in This Is Us. He's done a few things. He honestly hasn't done a ton, but he's pretty great in this movie. His eyes are a level of intense I was not expecting, though.
Do you think it's because he realized, because like this movie has bloopers, which is always a sign that they had a lot of fun making the movie and had no idea how bad it was going to be.
Yeah.
And do you think that he's maybe the only one that realized it was like, they're going to make Rex Manning strip? What are we doing here? But
except making dreams come true, Paige. It's the guy from Grease 2.
Oh, yeah. Who's that guy? The one on the cycle. What would they say if they knew it was Michael? Looks to me like he could really fly. That's a real song from Grease 2 about him on his motorcycle.
I think I'd like it more if he took his shirt off in that movie, Paige. I actually haven't seen Grease 2.
I think he does. Grease 2 is Showgirls bad in a great way. And it has Shooter McGavin in it.
I hear that guy eats pieces of shit for breakfast. Paige, we should just go through this movie scene by scene, and it won't take long.
It will not take long. Not much happens. First, we open on this movie's Hallmark/Netflix version of the Rockettes. Now, if you are not American and are not familiar with the Rockettes, allow me to quickly brief you. The Rockettes have been around for decades, and they are a Christmas tradition in New York.
Yeah.
They perform at Radio City Music Hall, and their main thing is dancing in unison and also tap dancing. It's very, very difficult to become a Rockette, but also they only accept people who are 5'7" to 5'9" and a specific age range.
Yes. And like level of flexibility. Like they do the can very famously. It's
and
like,
weight.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so regimented.
And you can only be a Rockette for a certain amount of years because you do age out. And the main move is they do this like fall in unison thing where they like stack on each other and then they like wave from a bus. I've seen it a couple times. It's very impressive, but it is kind of the same shit every time.
Yeah.
But that's what this movie is trying to do. But they had a school theater budget.
Well, and they're performing in what looks like a school theater, but it's like packed.
Yes.
Like it has more people in it than the bar does at any point.
Todd, my favorite thing in the world is that they show the stage for this, and I was like, student theater? And they're like, get out there. Are you ready to shine on Broadway? I was like, Broadway? And then they do a reverse shot of like what the crowd is, and it's this massive crowd that in no possible universe way is attached to the same stage that we just saw. It's fucking impossible.
I don't know, man. The whole thing was so silly because it does look like the level of performance you would get from people who have been taking a tap class for, no joke, 3 months. It is like not great. And I'm expected to believe this is Broadway. Like, Paige, there's a better way to do this where you don't make them dance. Just do the opening credits over her getting to work and like stretching.
Or dressing up. And
yes. And then someone coming in saying, hey, HR or whatever that lady's name was wants to talk to you.
Yeah.
I don't need to see her dancing to know she's a dancer.
Done. She can't dance. She never dances. They shoot her from the waist up, just moving her arm.
Half of the outtakes are that dance scene and her getting it wrong.
Yeah. Which, no shade, girl. Dancing is tough. Not all of us do it. It was a weird choice for them to try and make you do that. But like...
Yeah, I could have shot a better intro for this in less time than it took to shoot this, but like largely because they're asking her to do something they should not be asking her to do.
Todd, there's an even easier way to do this because you know who loves using footage and getting to be in shit, the Rockettes. Any chance to like kickball change across the screen, the Rockettes are there. Like they lend them out to events and shit. And so like they could have used stock footage of the Rockettes and then had her like be running off stage with them and be like, happy 12th anniversary. Can't believe it's my 12th Christmas. And then be like, yoink, time to age you out. And I think the only reason that they didn't is because the Rockettes are like, hey, we don't talk about that.
Yeah.
Because literally that is exactly what happens. They meet the new girl and they're like, oh, she's so young and new. And I'm like, she is the same age as y'all. Like, y'all look the same age.
Yeah, but she's like the Sue of this movie. You know what I'm saying? So like, she's got to go because the new Sue's in town. I was like, really back-to-back movies that take a really hard look at the way entertainment and society treat women as they age.
Wrong podcast.
Oh, sorry.
That's the other
My
podcast.
bad.
But last
Yeah.
week was Showgirls, so this still holds. She's the Nomi Malone, and our main character is Gina Gershon, which if you had cast Gina Gershon, oh my God, this would have been incredible.
As Michael J. Fox's mom?
No, as the main character. No other changes.
And also, I'll be taking no questions.
And topless.
By the way, just so I don't confuse the listeners, Michael J. Fox is not in this movie, but his dad from Family Ties is the dad in
Family
this.
Ties is the dad in this movie.
So that's why I was like his mom. Sorry. Yeah. Anyway, whatever.
I knew where you were going with it.
I know, but I really hope people didn't watch this movie and are just listening to the episode. And I'm so sorry if you watched this movie.
I will say that it's been a long time since we have watched a movie on this show that made me have so many intrusive thoughts because every once in a while I would see what they were kind of setting up as a set piece in the movie and I would just think, wouldn't it be funny if they did this bad on purpose? And then they would do it badly but in a completely like normal way and I'm like, no, if you like, I think you should leave level leaned into making this movie terrible, that would crack me up. Like if she had gotten out there and just could not dance and they just let it go and like
loved it.
She's just out there like 2 beats off. Like,
oh, you mean like she is in the bloopers?
Yes. If they had just left that in the film.
I'm sure they got plenty of takes of her messing it up.
I mean, because everyone else is like in unison or whatever. And I'm like, if she's just off, oh, is that funny?
Yeah.
And like, then they call her into HR. She's like, I'm sorry, I messed it up with the Rockettes. It was my first day. Like, I would have lost my mind. That would have been so fun. But no, it's because she aged out.
Yeah.
Even though she's definitely the same age as all of these people. Because Netflix refuses to actually age anyone up. And I do like that they're like, no, aging out would be illegal. We're just replacing you, which is a very real thing that happens.
Yeah, they're like, we're just refreshing a few of the cast members and it's your turn because you've been here a long time.
Yeah, your contract is only so many years long, regardless of what. So we've chosen not to renew your contract. Yes. Mm-hmm.
It's just like Menudo, guys. It's just like Menudo for Christmas, but it's girls.
It's just like Menudo.
That's what it is.
It's Christmas Menudo.
Yeah,
you get it.
It's Chris Nudo. Oh, wait, that didn't come out right. Never mind.
Yeah. It's Menudo for the Navidad. Anyway, so I do love that she like walks out of the office and crosses paths with the new girl. She's like, hi, and she's like, here's some advice, don't get old, and like walks away, and we're like, you're fully the same age, but okay. She calls her parents, or rather her mom calls her, and is like, we're gonna come see the show on Christmas Eve. And admittedly, I was glad that the movie didn't try to like make her try and get her job back in time for Christmas Eve, and instead she's just like, I don't have a job anymore. I'm coming home. And they're like, okay, but that seems cool.
Yeah, great to have you home for Christmas.
Come on home. But also there's all of the like young, hotter dancer with perkier boobs. I was like, where have I heard this before? Because like
Paige, literally the last episode, that was 2 nights ago we recorded the Substance episode. It's still on me. I cannot wash it off.
Also, I did watch The Substance literally again the next day with Jake so we could cackle together.
Because we own it, because we had to buy it to do that episode.
Love it. So glad I own it.
Paige, this movie and The Substance are pretty much the same. She gets replaced by a younger dancer. Did you not understand the metaphor, Paige?
How dare you insult The Substance by comparing it to this movie? Showgirls, compare away.
Paige, I bought a shirt this morning that says Stabilize Daily on it in the font of The Substance.
Yes! Yes!
I loved that movie. I hope to never watch it again, but I love that it exists.
Here's what I'm going to tell you. It's even better on a second watch, baby. I almost bought a water bottle that just says, "You are one." And I was like,
Love
oh.
it. That should be like a mantra, though. You are one. Like, guys.
You are one.
Stop beating yourself
Remember,
up.
you are one.
You are the same person.
Remember, you are one. Jake loved it as well. And I spoiled nothing. And we got to watch as she stuck those earrings into her head. And Jake was just like, and I was like, yes.
You know what all 6 ears need, Elizabeth Taylor? White diamonds.
Diamonds.
I love that all of them had them. Anyway, we can't talk about the substance again. If you want to hear us talk more about the substance, listen to that episode on Horror Version.
I don't even know if it'll come out before this.
It will. It comes out the Monday before this.
Awesome. Anyway, she goes home. And I do like that she's like sat on her couch at one point watching another Netflix Christmas movie. And then she comes home, and as she's like walking around her Christmas town, she like gets into a cab with a cab driver who will come back later. And I think has a name, but we only hear it once.
They all only have one name, Paige. Nobody has a last name.
Yeah, because remember, we are one.
His name is His name is Ricky.
Oh, Ricky.
Yeah. His last name's Tavi. Guess what his middle name is?
Brandon.
Yep. Famously, it was Ricky Brandon Tavi.
Do they have Christmas in France? Anyway, she bumps into Chad Michael Murray hanging garland outside and having some sort of OSHA violation with a ladder. And my first thought was like, fuck, man, he still got it.
That was not my first thought. My first thought was like, oh, she must have played soccer growing up because she took a dive immediately when she saw a hot dude with tinsel. She flops.
I'm just here, like, you know, when in movies when people have flashbacks and they hear the like Apocalypse Now music, that's me of just Chad Michael Murray, and I'm just, I don't want to be anything.
But he's like in 30% slow motion, looking towards somebody off screen.
All I have to do is think of me, and I have peace of mind. I'm tired of looking around here.
This song's longer than I remember.
Dude, I fucking love that song.
That's my favorite way to get someone to stop singing. They're like, oh God, there's a second verse? Shit, okay.
It was, when I tell you, it's an incredible karaoke song none of us expected to be good. Because, like, she could sing it well enough that everyone, like, slow clap started.
It's got a banger chorus, man. It's very sing. I honestly have never done that, but that's in my register. I could do that.
You should. You should do it. She fucking destroyed. It was everyone was like, Chapel Roan who? Because there had been like 3 Chapel Roan songs at that point. And it was like, Gavin DeGraw, let's fucking go. All right. And then a lady got up and sang Black Velvet and killed that too. It was a good night.
Oh, Black Velvet and that little boy smile. Oh, come on.
Black Velvet and that little boy smile.
God.
Yes. Anyway, I tried in my notes to type, because she shows up at like her parents' business, and I tried to type, oh, it's like a honky tonk, but for some reason that auto-corrected to hanky honk everywhere else in my notes.
That's all I heard. Hanky honk. From now on, it's a hanky honk.
From now on, it's a hanky honk. Her parents run a hanky honk, and at the bar is Colt with the eyes, Maxwell Caulfield, a.k.a. Rex Manning, a.k.a. Michael Sandy's cousin from Grease 2. And they're doing the crossword for Christmas, and they are both bad at it.
Hey, not everyone can, like, listen, hey. Not everyone can spell great. That's all I'm saying. I'm very dyslexic.
That's fair. I think it was more that they were just answering the questions wrong in general.
I thought it was rude that she was like, it's fruitcake. Fruitcake.
It's fruitcake. Anyway, she's looking at the pictures around the hinky honk, and
I like that the hinky honk is called the Rhythm Room. I was like, that's actually a pretty great name for a hinky honk.
Yes.
I also love that I live in the worldwide capital of hinky honks, and I'm now going to forever call them hinky honks because I hate honky tonks, honestly. They're like the worst bars in town to go to, and that's where all the tourists go.
But hinky honks, great bars.
You know where you won't hear Gavin DeGraw, Paige? At a hinky honk.
No, I feel like Gavin DeGraw exclusively plays hinky honks and not honky tonks.
Well, that's what I mean, but like you won't hear the honky tonks here in town.
I know. But this is what you get for your mariachi paradox that I can't unsee now.
The mariachi paradox of this movie is the more lines you have, the worse you are at dancing. That's the mariachi paradox for this movie.
Yeah. Yes. But she's like looking at all the newspaper clippings about the Hinky Honk, the rhythm room. And one of them is Belgravia Royals attend concert at the rhythm room, which I cannot overstate that the rhythm room is the size of half an Applebee's. and I mean that.
Half an Applebee's is generous. That's half of like where you sit to eat.
Right.
That's not half of the restaurant. Because in a half of an Applebee's, half of that Applebee's is actually the kitchen. It's a fourth of an Applebee's.
I mean, you need a lot of room for all the microwaves. It's a Halflebee's, though. So, like, this is a Halflebee's. Eating okay in this place.
Applebee's. It might be food. But it definitely was microwaved in a plastic bag 30 seconds ago.
I also only know that I like it, I love it song from Applebee's commercials because I don't listen to country. And so every once in a while, Jake and I will be in a country ass place and it'll come on and it'll be like, I like it. I love it. I want some more of it. And I just like, don't know how they do it down at Applebee's, but I like it. And Jake is like, you shut the fuck up. Like, don't sing that here. It's a real song. And I'm like, I never heard it as a real song.
People would be fine with you making fun of it. It's not like Lee Greenwood, God Bless America or some shit. Like,
oh, I'll make fun of that too. Anyway, so this Hinky Honk, the rhythm room, is a Halflebee's. And we're just making up our own language today.
Hinky Honk is my favorite part of this so far. Please do not get rid of it. I need this runner.
I won't.
I honestly want to hold on to this so long that in 2028, when we're doing The Merry Gentleman 7 and they're actually on Broadway, I'm still going to call them Hinky Honks.
Okay, but who do you think is in Merry Gentleman 7? Is it Timothy Chalamet by then, or do you think it's like Joe Manganiello in his comeback era?
Yo, the Joe Renaissance is going to be something.
Ooh, I was going to try and make a Manganiello pun, but all I hear is Hinky Honk. So.
All right, guys, I need a shirt that says all I hear is Hinky Honk.
All I hear is Hinky Honk.
For sure.
It's not even a thing. I don't know why the document corrected it, but I'm not going to change it back.
Paige, it's a thing now.
It's a thing.
Clippy was like, are you sure you didn't mean Hinky Honk?
You know what's better than this movie?
Everything, Paige!
Is the Glee episode of Community.
Yes.
But Hinky Honk sounds like it belongs there. With the like, Glee, it's a feeling you get when your brain finally lets your heart into its pants.
Oh, man.
Oh, I wish we'd watch that. Anyway, clearly this Hinky Honk is down on its luck.
Yeah. Well, they actually like really do a good job of breaking down why venues like this are shutting down. And that's because bands, like, you don't build your career at local venues anymore. Like when I was coming up doing that, like you did, like you had to play shows, right? Now you literally do not. And that was changing. I think one of the reasons it took us longer to get signed is because we weren't on YouTube, even though it was like new-ish when we had first started, you know?
Are you saying that TikTok is killing the Hinky Honks?
Paige, yes, the TikToks is killing the Hinky Honks. What is happening? I need a new shirt, guys. I need a new shirt that has Paige done up like a golden girl. And it just says the TikToks are...
Dogs is killing the Hinky Honks. Oh my God. This is like bad Dr. Seuss. Anyway, so we've got to save the community center, aka the Hinky Honk, in time for Christmas. It's a time-honored tradition in all Hallmark films.
Paige, I have to pause this right here.
Sure.
How long is the month in which Christmas lands in this world?
Okay, so we know because they put the dates on the marquee of the Hinky Honk every time. So we start rehearsals December 6th, which means...
that they're going until December 16th because it's 10 days of rehearsals.
Well, it's 10 days of rehearsals to the debut, which is on December 16th.
Yeah.
Which means that they have from the 16th to the 24th, because they don't do a show on Christmas, to make $30,000.
So this sort of checks out. I actually really did sort of like that it was $30,000 and not like $1 million. Like it seemed like an amount that...
$1 million.
Yeah, it seemed like an amount that they couldn't just raise by like asking for help from friends or family.
Right.
But could feasibly bilk a town full of MILFs into forking it over. So, like, I got it. That part of the movie actually worked. It's the only one that did.
It's the only part that did. It's a reasonable amount of money for what they're trying to do.
Yeah.
As long as they don't pay the dancers or pay for any costumes.
Yeah, I assumed that they were just everyone was just volunteering.
I assumed
yeah.
that this was volunteers. But I did appreciate that, like most male reviews, because I've been to a few, they aren't throwing dollars. That's not really a thing that happens at male reviews all that much. I mean, I assume some or strip clubs, but like, you know, at a normal strip club that you'll pay dollars, like you'll throw dollars at people.
Yeah, sure. I've seen movies.
Yeah, that don't really happen on the flip side. There's also some things that they do that don't really happen on the flip side that I thought were very funny, and I'll bring them up later. Anywho, so they have to cover repairs, cover rent, whatever. And the way we find this out is we know that it's like not because we kind of got ahead of ourselves with the timeline.
Sorry.
The hinky honk is old, and the only person that can fix it is Chad Michael Murray. And so he's like her parents' like adopted son, basically.
Yeah, it never explains why he wants to help them. Like he lives in the town.
Yeah.
So it's like maybe just like his local bar, maybe? I don't know.
I think it's a little bit of, I just want to be hammering at this honk that tries to be hinky. It's terrible. I'm so sorry.
I'm so glad we got there, though. That was fun.
That's not going to be the last time I try to make a weird song anyway. So he's trying to kind of like slapdash everything together.
Yeah, he's literally trying to hold the place together. It's a hole in the wall with too many holes in the wall, which when the writer wrote that, he was like, I'm so proud of that line. It's going to show up 3 times in this movie.
I wrote one line. Is that enough for a whole movie?
And Netflix was like, you're goddamn right it is. Ask Robert Redford in his boat. Which is a good version of that premise. Like only one line. Yeah. Yeah.
That was a great.
I'm so glad you got
good.
my stupid, obscure joke.
Woo. Oh, man. Anyway, she goes to the Little Spoon Cafe, which is another business in town now owned by her sister and brother-in-law, which means that this family collectively owns both dining and entertainment in this small town.
They got a whole record page. Although I'll say this, I think her older sister was just like, well, clubs are dying, so I'm not going to do that. But restaurants are always doing good. So like, that's what I'm going into.
People got to eat.
Yeah, she's way smarter than her parents is what I'm saying, which is not uncommon.
Well, I think her parents just need to diversify what the hinky honk does, which is what this movie does. Anyway.
Yo, society just changed. When they started that club, it probably was a banging place to hang out because the internet didn't exist.
Yeah, it was the hinkiest of honks before the tinkiest of talks came around. I hate this. Anyway,
You love it.
Because this is a Netflix Christmas film. Her sister also is a baker, because someone always has to be. Her mom will also be a baker, although I have baking critiques
No, say
on
it
her
ain't
mom's
so,
bouche
though.
de Noel.
Yeah, I wrote when that came out of the oven, I was like, Paul Hollywood would not be offering a handshake for this, whatever this is.
Absolutely not. Cracking all over the place. Uneven swirl.
Little Debbie makes better Swiss rolls, guys.
Well, she's got a factory helping her. But, I mean, here's the other thing, too. Bouche de Noëls are a fucking pain in the ass. Pick any other dessert.
Tell me about it, Paige. But honestly, just bring a Fudgy the Whale out of the oven. Like, I don't care. Like, it doesn't need to be something insane. I guess you wouldn't bring a Fudgy the Whale out of the oven. But you know what I'm saying. Like, I guess you know what I'm saying, Paige. You like pull like ice cream cake out of the oven. Like, honestly, that is what I should have expected from this movie, though. It's like, we baked this Viennetta ice cream cake or whatever.
Well, now I feel better because my brain immediately went, isn't Fudgy the Whale ice cream? And then you were like, out of the oven. I was like, I guess not. And then you were like, wait a second.
I honestly don't know. I've never had a Fudgy the Whale because I don't eat seafood, Paige.
Plus, they're endangered. Anyway.
Audible's best of 2024 picks are here. Discover the year's top audiobooks, podcasts, and originals in all your favorite genres. From memoirs and sci-fi to mysteries and thrillers, Audible's curated list in every category is the best way to hear 2024's best in audio entertainment. Like a stunning new full-cast production of George Orwell's 1984. Heartfelt memoirs like Supreme Court Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson's Lovely One. The year's best fiction like The Women by Kristen Hanna. And Percival Everett's brilliantly subversive James. Audible. There's more to imagine when you listen. Go to audible.com/imagine and discover all the year's best waiting for you.
Credit Karma is your evolved financial assistant, making managing your finances simpler and more tailored to you. Join us at creditkarma.com to start your personalized financial journey today and continue to grow with our innovations. Credit Karma. Evolve your finances.
So she goes to the Little Spoon, and we find out that she's staying with her sister. And her sister is immediately trying to hook her up with Luke, where she's like, oh, we have his lunch to go. You should give her a ride home. And she's like, well, I'll just Uber. And he's like, there's no Uber here. And I'm like, we saw a taxi earlier.
Yeah, like a taxi dropped her off, bro.
That taxi driver will be an important character later in the film. And he lives in town, clearly.
He'll have characters of dialogue, guys, like literal letters, he will say. He says maybe like 3 lines at tops.
If that, the rest of his performance is communicated purely through eyebrows. And I have to imagine that they wrote that into the script where they're like, pensive? Question mark.
But what you guys don't realize if you haven't seen the movie is they wrote the lines of dialogue on his eyebrows like in Captain Hook.
Or like in Indiana Jones, where he just closes his eyelids.
Yeah.
And it's just
It's
like,
the girl in
pump
class.
up the jam. Yeah. Oh, God. Anyway, so this is where, because she gets home to her sister's house. Everyone's hanging out, the sister, the brother-in-law. And this is where I want to play our game of which scene was written first. Because do you know what I'm about to talk about?
I think maybe, because I had a moment like this too, but I don't know. It comes later in the movie, so go.
Sure. We know because we clicked on the picture to make this play on the Netflix machine. We know that this movie is about male strippers, which means that somehow she's going to put on a male stripper or a male review
Right.
at the rhythm thing. But we don't know why yet. We kind of know that they need money, so we assume that's part of it. But why male review? Why not? Because she's a dancer.
Yeah.
Why doesn't she put on her own dance show? You know, like,
Why doesn't she put on a burlesque show? Because burlesque wasn't trending when they were writing the script for this movie. So they,
burlesque is always trending.
Well, you know what I mean. Like, this is an algorithm put together movie.
Yes, but it is also because they needed a hot guy and couldn't figure out how else to shoehorn them into this story. But here's where I have a question of which was written first. Because in this scene where she's talking with her sister is like, remember that guy I dated back in the day? He wasn't a real doctor. It's not the man she married who ends up dancing later in this movie. It's a completely different person we've never heard of and never hear of again. She's like, no, he was a stripper. And she's like, you dated a stripper? Cut to, because that's literally the end of the scene.
Yeah.
The next scene, the landlord shows up and is like, there's probably client privilege or something here, but your parents be broke. They owe me a lot of money. And if they don't get it by January 1st, this is a juice bar, because obviously.
And landlords be landlording. You know what I'm saying?
And landlords be landlord.
And she is like really excited about the Jamba Juice or whatever. She like cannot wait, which I guess makes sense because like her tenants currently in the rhythm room space, like, aren't paying their bills. So like, I get it.
You know what Hinky Honk don't have? Acai bowls. Anyway. She's like, this place just needs a facelift. And she's like, this place needs a doctor. And she's like, doctor, like the stripper doctor. We could have strippers. And that's how we get from point A to point B of strippers.
Yeah. This whole premised movie like would not have happened if she didn't like yes and herself into making up a crazy story for the landlord so she wouldn't just sell the place to a Jamba Juice.
Right.
And then her being like, oh, wait, no, that thing I just made up in this moment is actually genius.
Yes. I've got a plan.
Yeah.
Like that kind of.
Yes.
But because as soon as it happened, I was like, I would bet almost $1 million that this line and the line in the scene before it about the doctor were not in the first draft. And rather, we just got to her being like, I don't know, how about a male review? And then someone was like, you need to tell them how she thought of that.
Yeah.
And they reverse engineered it and put that line in the scene before or wrote that entire scene before because we don't need any of the other information in it.
That scene was shot 2 weeks after principal photography.
Thank you. Yeah. Yes. and then was like, doctor, and like just cut that one in.
Yeah.
Anyway, this has been Which Scene Was Written First. Thank you for joining my TED Talk. So before that happens, she does get to ride in Chad Michael Murray's truck, and it's the fakest truck ride we've ever seen in a Netflix film. And I really applaud them for doing the least. I didn't know we could sink so low.
Yeah, it almost seems like they just have like interns pushing the car behind. Like it's so low rent. It's very funny though. I kind of like it.
Yeah, it made me laugh out loud because I was like, really? Okay. But this is where she tells him that she's a dancer, blah, 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 blah. But anyway, back to the landlord. The landlord, doctor. We're actually going to be doing a strip review, like male review. It's going to be great. And I'd like to invite you to the premiere. And she gets Chad Michael Murray to yes and into it. And he's like, oh, yeah, I'm definitely singing / dancing. And she's like, okay, so what's this called? And she's like, The Merry Gentleman. And she's like, we'll see. Stomp, 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 slam. Because, yeah, all right, we've hit our Act 1 mark.
Yeah, well, and she's like a landlord. So she's just like landlord, you know? Like
Right.
Yeah.
And I would, if they,
Paige, you can't even get it out.
This was one of my intrusive thoughts as I was watching this movie, because she comes back on Christmas Day and they're like, here's the money and whatever.
And then please won't you eat with us?
Yeah, and please won't you eat with us? And if they had been like, here, boy, fetch the largest goose for Christmas dinner, like Ebenezer Scrooge,
Yeah.
I would have lost my mind.
If she just full on Sparta kicks open the bar door and yells at a child on the street to go to Kroger and get her a big chicken.
You, boy, what day is it? Why, sir, it's Christmas Day. Like that.
It's just like some dirty kid from Boston.
The movie was so bad, I started making up my own weird movie. Like, I went to full Mikey Town.
Love it.
It's bonkers. Anyway, she's like, thank you for volunteering, Chad Michael Murray. Now take off your shirt. And he's like, I didn't volunteer for anything. She's like, my parents need $30,000. He's like, I guess the only way is for me to take off my clothes and not to probably lend them the $30,000 for my flourishing carpentry business in that glorious barn.
So wait, what does he do for a living?
He's a carpenter.
Just like Jesus?
Yes. And also Mike and Magic Mike.
Just like Jesus.
Bow, 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 drills, wood, and drills.
I'm just a savior.
Cutting up the wood now.
I died for your sins, but now I'm gonna back it up.
All over your body, but also this wine it is my blood and you drink it.
Technically, we're vampires.
It's only a metaphor. Anyway.
You're a sinner. Let's do it. They call it salvation. Guys, I could have been a youth pastor.
I was like, there's no way. There's no way somebody hasn't tried it. But yeah, December 6th, it's their first practice. And they have gathered the brother-in-law and Colt with the eyes from behind the bar. And for some reason, Maxwell Caulfield is still there hanging out.
Which, okay. We cannot just gloss over the fact that they're like, hey, bartender, you got a banging body, and like, if you don't dance, you're going to fucking lose your job. So you have to.
But can we have his body's fucking insane.
I don't even know how his abs do the thing where they like, his abs are so like taut. What's the word? I don't know. This movie did remind me I should do some more sit-ups. But like in between his abs is just like an ab. It's like an ab. I can't explain it.
To paraphrase something that former Rooster Teeth employee Andrew Rosas once said on another podcast I was on, it looks like his abs cracked their knuckles. Like just boom.
Yeah.
Like as he's dancing, you're like, oh, yes.
Yeah.
But no, but yes. But this is where we get like a mini montage of her trying to choreograph a male review. And she's doing it like Rockettes dancing, which is not at all what they need to be doing.
Oh, and also the actress, does not know what the concept of dancing is. Like, we saw her at the beginning of this movie. She cannot dance.
Well, she's doing Fosse and they need to be doing Thrusty, and it's just not connecting.
Those are my two favorite rejected Sesame Street characters.
This is Fosse. It's just a Broadway Muppet.
Yeah.
The minute you walked in the can.
I could see you were a big fucking grouch. You live in your trash can.
Good looking, open the lid. See, wouldn't you like to see all of the trash that's within? It broke my brain.
This has become the musical episode, and people are gonna fucking hate it. I'm so sorry. I love it.
Too bad.
I can't help it. I'm so excited. We're doing Rocky Horror on Horror Virgin next recording. I'm losing my mind. I cannot wait till Sunday.
Somebody also sang Rocky Horror at karaoke.
Which one?
Sweet Transvestite, and they
Hell
fucking crushed it. And he was like a 50-year-old guy who like wasn't there with the party and just like walked in and destroyed, and I think didn't realize that half the crowd were a bunch of former theater kids that are now comedians.
Hell yeah.
Because we're like singing along, and he's like, he goes into the audience, he's like pointing at us to sing the like extra, and a girl on the other side of me who has been my friend for a long time but is not a theater kid, and she was like, why do you all know, what is this song from? Like, she had no idea. And then
I would have been like, get the fuck out. Like, that movie's before even my generation. I'm old as shit.
Oh,
and
I
that's
know.
before me.
I know.
But it's just a good movie.
It's an okay movie, but it is a classic.
How dare you?
But anyway, he gets to, I see you shiver with anticip, and literally our tables, we almost threw the tables over, just like, say it, you motherfucker, just like from the back. And he waited, and then he goes, patient. Yeah!
Love it.
Like the whole room screamed. It was fantastic. We're going to have a very fun time next week. Anyway,
Hell yeah.
Too much Broadway. Not enough thrusting the family jewels at people.
Too much Fosse, not enough saucy. You know what I'm saying? That's the note.
That's
the note. I found it.
There it is. Do you? Well, no, you don't TikTok. You only hinky honk.
Oh, yeah.
There is a lady on TikTok that does fake Fosse dances, and she's like, it's the skinamadoo, the limp noodle, and she's like demonstrating them, and they are very accurate to what Fosse looks like, but still fake, and it is very funny to me. Anyway.
It's all fake. It's just people making shit up. Like, that's what dancing is. I mean, that's what like everything in life is, honestly.
Oh, no, I know, but like acting like it is a real documented Fosse move.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I love the bit.
Yes.
I'm here for that.
Yes.
That sounds like a great SNL sketch that has Christopher Walken doing the worm on the floor. Like, I'm here for it.
Foo Fighters.
Oh, Foo Fighters.
Tongue slap your brains out trying to get to it.
Yeah, that's right. Romancing the Pod alum, Christopher Walken.
Friend of the pod.
But not of Natalie Wood.
Yeah, I was like guilty of accessories. So Maxwell Caulfield is sitting at the bar, just day drinking, and they're like, hey, there's always room for one more, and he's like I'm joining this, and I'm like, he clearly, like, we know he is.
Yeah,
we know. We then get a montage of like all of the men at their respective jobs dancing through life, doing the job stuff. And so there's the bartender who's doing Tom Cruise from Cocktail. 100%. He's like tossing.
And he's honestly doing great. Like I think that bartender has to be just like a very interesting person in real life. Cause like
probably
dude seems very dedicated to like dance, but like he does a very physical performance. Yeah. I wouldn't say he's like the best actor in the world, but I don't
think they gave him anything to do.
Me either. I think I would watch him in other stuff. Like if I saw him in something else, I'd be like, I want to see him in that, because this isn't a great movie. If you put him in a great movie, he might really shine. I don't know.
Sure. I don't know.
But like a Save the Last Dance kind of movie where he gets to show off some of that stuff would
actually show it off.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we cut to the brother-in-law who's at the restaurant, and this is such a strange note, but the angle they have shot this from and the kind of dancing and flipping burgers that he's doing is the same angle that they usually draw SpongeBob from when he's dancing in his fry cook kitchen. And I just I went to flashbacks and just heard the like laughing in the sunlight, dancing in the moonlight, and I was like, this is full SpongeBob and I don't know what to do. But we cut back to them taking measurements for costumes that would cost money that they don't have, but like whatever.
Paige, you got to spend money to make money, baby.
You got to spend money to make money. And at this point, we see their rehearsals. It's not good. And it doesn't look like any kind of male review I've ever seen. And Chad Michael Murray is like, is all of this useless? That's his actual line. I wrote it down. And then she's like, no, you just have to use your body to connect to the audience. And he's like, but I am. And she's like, no, dance with me. And then they ballroom dance in a way that does not help or change anything.
He does dance with her, but you know what's not usually featured in a male review?
It's ballroom dancing.
Yeah, ballroom dancing. Like, what do you do? What? Like, women are not usually featured at a male review. I mean, maybe sometimes, I don't know, but like,
Okay, Todd.
maybe like a Henrietta kind of thing, but like,
No. At every male review I have been to, a woman is plucked from the audience and then lightly molested on stage as everyone screams.
that's very different from like
Yes.
bringing someone up on stage to ballroom
Yes.
dance with them. Who were you, staying at a U2 concert?
I know, but here's what I'm saying. If I was at a male review and they plucked someone out of the audience and then just waltzed them around the stage, I would laugh till I died.
Yeah.
And then I realized that they actually effectively kind of did this in Magic Mike XXL, where Joe Manganiello's thing is like, I want to pull a girl out of the audience and we have like a fake wedding, like we get fully married and we do the reception and everything. And then we end up in the sex swing. And then that's the only way you would make it work, is like waltzing her from piece to piece of that weird dance set piece that ends on that 9 Inch Nails song.
The one, I want to fuck you like an animal?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, they were like waltzing. And I was like, if I showed up to a male review and there was waltzing, I would laugh, but I'd want my money back.
Also, guys, check on your Joe Manganiellos out there. They're literally picking women out of the audience to marry to get like a place to stay, I guess. I don't know.
He's a male entertainer. I'm a male entertainer. Anyway, they're dancing and they like change the lighting and the music. And I'm like, they want this to be romantic so bad. And it just isn't. There is nothing between them really, other than they have been in close proximity.
Paige, can I give you a better reading of this scene that would have been as condescending as every time you see this, but the genders are reversed? I sort of alluded to this earlier about like the guy teaching a woman how to like drive a golf ball and he's like really condescending to her. I really wanted her to like walk up there and smack him on the ass and get behind him and like grab his hips and show him how to move his hips, because that's actually the kind of dancing he's going to be doing. And like, it would have been helpful. It would have been a very fun play on like what these scenes typically are when it's gender reversed, right? And then it would have actually made sense because that's what dancing he's going to be doing.
Can I pitch? I want to flip this scene, just what you have just pitched, but a little bit different.
Flip it.
That I think would add some actual chemistry to it.
Flip it for real. Not to quote Benicio del Toro, but yeah.
She gets up there and is like, this is what I need you to do. This is what women want. This is how you're going to be attractive. As if he doesn't know. And he's like, let me show you what women think is attractive. And he does like a dance and dips her and stuff. And she has this moment of like, oh, maybe I am attracted to this. And this is different from what I'm trying to get him to do, but maybe this thing did it for me.
Yeah.
Just buy my movies, guys. Anyway, I also, at this point in the movie, I had a note where I was like, I think this might actually be better if he had been a secret stripper this whole time, where like it came out and he's like, hey, I had to make money in college. And then he was like Magic Mike levels of good.
Until the like second letter of that second word, I thought you were going to say Secret Santa. If he had been secretly Santa.
I think there is a Secret Santa in this movie. We'll get to
Oh my God. Okay.
We'll get to
Is
it.
it the guy from Grease too?
No, but that would have if Santa had stripped in this movie, Todd, I'm gonna write a movie where Santa strips.
Somebody called David Harbour, right?
Oh God, yes. He posted that photo on Instagram that I think cut lower than he intended it to, and then quickly removed it. But a lot of us have screenshots. Anyway.
So what you're saying is you got a picture of David Harbour's backboard you're going to blackmail him with so he joins your movie.
Look, dude's posting Bush on Maine. Like that's, I didn't make him. Sorry. Anyway.
Sorry, I thought I was sending a DM. My bad.
My bad. He can play Santa as long as he wants. But we then immediately cut to their first performance. And at this point I was like, we're already at like the night. This is structured all wrong. Like,
Paige,
what is happening?
I did the math from the first of the month. So they had 25 days in my mind. They actually had less because you said they started on the 6th.
Yes.
But if you do it from the 1st, that's 40% of the time they have.
Right.
They spent rehearsing. That they then yada yada over in the movie. So it's like, first off, that's a lot of your time to spend rehearsing when you got $30K to make, baby. You got to open them doors quick. But they take 10 days and they yada yada through it so hard that after the first performance that we're going to go through the scene for, Chad Michael Murray and Ashley have a conversation.
Yes.
That seems like it's the first time they've ever been alone together. And they've been rehearsing for 10 days.
Todd, I had this exact same note in my notes where I was like, this scene should come before the performance.
Yes, way before. This should be the first day of the practice.
Or a few days in where he's struggling and she's struggling and they're thinking that they're not going to be able to do it.
Yeah.
But we're going to persevere, and because we know and like each other, we're going to keep going. It's completely out of place. It was driving me nuts because we get into the show, right? They do the show.
Yeah, we got to do the show first. That's actually the next scene. So let's table that for a second.
Yeah, they do the show. It starts out seemingly like Blue Man Group, which was real weird. And in my notes, I just have, this is as weird as Daddy and the Boy, which if you have seen the Always Sunny male review episode, it is almost that weird.
Paige, all I saw when you said Daddy and the Boy was Hugh Grant and the kid from About a Boy.
Nope.
And I don't know why that's what came in my head.
I don't either. But they do strip, and it's suddenly like full-on stripper dancing that is like not at all what they've been practicing this whole time. And then he pulls down his jeans and has boxers that say Naughty Elf, which I was like, all right. But then the shot reverses to the audience. And I know what they were trying to do was make this look sparsely attended so that it can get progressively more and more crowded as they go. But to do that, they like spread people out around tables. And so there's at least one woman sitting alone.
Yeah.
And she's just like quietly smiling and watching this. And I'm like, you know what doesn't happen at male reviews? Women going alone. That's not really a thing we do.
You know what concerns me? That lady. I'm worried about that lady. Like, we need to do a welfare
Is she
check.
okay?
Just make sure she's all right.
What's her life? Like, where are her friends?
I've never been to a male review, but I bet it's the kind of atmosphere that if someone is alone, she's getting pulled into a group of ladies. You know what I'm saying? It's like that kind of vibe.
Yes.
Like everyone's there just
Absolutely.
like having a great time kind of thing, I would assume.
Yes.
Yeah, but everyone's also just like sitting at a table and watching, which I don't think that would be like it is too. But
Oh, no, they're at tables.
oh, okay, okay.
Yeah. You can order food. It's like a whole thing. You're sitting at tables, but the few that I've been to, it's usually long tables so that dancers will walk up and down the tables like runway during the performances. And it's not like a strip club. It's like dance numbers, and then the numbers are choreographed with some audience stuff, some whatever. But it is almost exclusively a thing that like bachelorette parties and girls' night outs and whatever go. I've never once been alone. And I know that it's a thing of like a guy might go to a strip club alone and just sit and drink. That is not the atmosphere of a male review at all.
Also, check on that guy. Like, can we get a welfare check on that dude?
Hey, if you do it once or twice, I get it. If it becomes a habit, hey, are you okay, man? Like, are you doing okay? Do you need a friend? But this lady, I was like, do you need a friend? But then she seems totally content and happy to be there. And I was like,
She's having a great time, Paige.
Having a
Chad
great
Michael
time.
Murray's taking her shirt off, and she loves that Gavin DeGraw song.
yes, who I'm supposed to be. Yeah, no, I get it, girl.
Yeah.
Anyway, afterwards, they're like, we pulled it off. We made the most that we've made it at the bar in in years. And then they're like, $2,200. I was like, your bar's going to fail. Like, that is not enough money to keep a bar open in general.
And you're way too excited about it. Like, that is It's Sunny in Philadelphia numbers.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
And that's bad.
That's a real slow retail day in my very small retail store. And the only reason we can have slow days like that is because around Christmas, we would have like $100,000 and $200,000 days.
Yeah.
Like, it balances out. Anyway, he's like, it's a nice night. Why don't you let me walk you home? Even though we established earlier that home is a drivable distance, but they have to walk and spend time with each other.
Yeah. But I mean, every home is a drivable distance.
Sure.
If it's in town, Paige.
Except that, do you remember when he drove her home last time and they had to drive through the forest? Or at least that's what we saw in the fake truck.
Paige, of course I didn't. because this movie is not worth paying attention to.
Okay, I paid attention to it because I was like, oh, she lives kind of outside of town in the forest because they have like a drive and a conversation. So when he's like, I'll walk you home, and they're just on the streets of town, and I'm like, she's miles outside of town. Like, what are you talking about? But it's just so they can hang out.
He just like walks her to the end of town and is like,
see ya.
Well, I can't go into the forest because I'll disappear. Bye. And you're like, what is happening with Chad Michael Murray's character?
Someone's calling your name in the trees. Have fun. Bye. Like, this is bonkers. But this is the scene that I'm like, this should have come before the performance. This should have been, there was an argument. She got frustrated and he's like, let's take a walk. Let's take 5.
Sure.
And they do this and calm down and come back and then do the show.
Because 10 days after they met and they started rehearsing, after their first rehearsal, he's like, so what's your deal? You married? You got kids? You got a boyfriend? What's going on?
After everyone in her life is throwing her at him, like, he's like, you married? What's up? Then this was in screenwriter brain. I'm like, this was placeholder dialogue. There's no way this was real. Because she's just like, I'd love to get something to eat. That was good. That's the best pizza I've had since I was in New York, because I lived in New York before this. New York. It was just ridiculous. And then he was like, I was married once. It was a disaster. And I was like, oh, the plot thickens. And he's like, yeah, we moved here together and then I'm the only one who stayed. And in my mind, I was like, if she died, that's a hilarious way to phrase that. It's just like, I'm the only one who stuck around.
Paige, she died. And she was a donor, and her tap shoes went to Ashley, and that's how she was able to tap.
Because it's almost time for the Christmas shoes.
I forgot about Christmas shoes.
Oh, God. So he doesn't give any real reason. We will eventually find out why she left, and it is unsatisfying and not enough information for a movie.
Right?
It is the equivalent of a note on a screenplay that says, need to find reason wife left. And then they just never, like, insert reason for wife, and then they never did.
She just didn't like not living in the city, Paige.
Yeah, she decided to go back to the city. What? For what? What does she do? Why did she do that?
Oh, is she coming back? Like, is she going to be back tonight? Like, what are we talking about?
Yeah, we're going to have a tap off in the middle of the mail review. Let's fucking go. Turns out she was the young one that pushed Nomi down the stairs. Like, whatever. Just give me something.
If Elizabeth Berkley had come back as his wife and was as crazy as she was in Showgirls, I would have lost my mind.
Oh, my God. Give it to me. Put it in my veins.
Perfect movie.
Perfect movie. Oh my God, it's Showgirls 3. Pennies from Santa.
She just walks through and stabs Ashley and walks off, says nothing. Who was that? That was my ex. You should go to the hospital.
That was my ex. I don't know if you know, but she used to be famous. She was a Vegas showgirl.
Until Paul Vanderhoeven destroyed her career.
Oof.
Like that guy who got his dick shot off in RoboCop.
Oof. Anyway, he's like, yeah, so I stayed here. And she's like, I might stay. I don't know. I don't know what I'm wishing for or why. And he's like, I know who you could wish upon. And I was like, is real ass Santa gonna fucking be here? Is Santa, which also it's like midnight outside after the show.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, look, Santa's still here. Let's take a photo with Santa. And my intrusive thought in this scene was, what if they got that photo and Santa was invisible like a vampire because it was real Santa?
Wait. Are you saying real Santa is a vampire?
No, I'm saying
because
he
like
just does...
a lot of the mythology checks out.
Right, because
say it, Paige. Santa,
vampire. Santa. No, in my mind, and I realized this was crazy as I was thinking, like, you ever have a thought and you're like, Paige, that's nuts. You should talk to somebody. It was like that, where I was like, what if Santa didn't show up in the photo because he's real Santa? And I was like, is Santa a vampire? I was like, no, but he's magical. But then why do we take pictures with Santa? Why is Santa? I was like, I spun out of control for like 5 minutes.
I just thought it was weird that Santa imprinted on baby Jesus in Nazareth in that movie.
No. Maybe we're getting closer to that soon.
Oof, I cannot wait to talk to her again.
Anyway.
But okay, I have a question about this though, the Santa thing.
Yeah.
Do they not make you sit on Santa's lap anymore? Because that is different from when I was a kid and nobody enjoyed that experience.
They don't make you. You can, but they don't make anyone do it anymore. I will say my sister and I did this at 16 and 18 one time because my parents thought it would be funny.
It is funny.
And still have
that is funny. I want to see that photo in the Facebook group by midnight. Like, that's amazing.
I'll find it the next time I go home and I'll send you a screenshot of it. But and they made us sit on Santa's lap because they were like, you got to do the whole thing.
God, I love your parents so much.
And Santa had just gotten back from his lunch break and there was food in his beard. And Erin in the picture is like, because she could only focus on the food and the beard.
That's amazing.
Anyway, they just stand next to Santa and take a picture, but it's objectively a terrible picture. It's framed wrong. And then later they have a correctly framed version of that picture that is clearly a screenshot of the footage before. But because this is Netflix and we are in the same universe of the Belgravian royals.
Right.
There's that old guy that is not Santa, but is magical in those movies.
Yeah. I mean, he sort of is.
And so I'm like, is it real Santa that is going to grant a Christmas stripper wish for this hinky honk?
It's a Christmas miracle page.
It's a strip miss miracle.
Oh, yes.
How did they not call this Mary Strip Miss?
I don't know.
Anyway, this whole thing that should have happened before the show, they end up walking away from Santa and he's like, did you enjoy tonight, but do you miss performing? And she's like, I do. And he's like, well, maybe one door closed, another one open. She's like, but what's behind this door? And he's like, just a carpenter. And my intrusive thought in that moment was, I'd like to tell you about our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Because
I literally whispered aloud alone in my bedroom, just like Jesus.
You know who else was a carpenter who had a lot of things to say? I was like, this movie. But we cut to the next day and she's drawing a graph of how much money they have made.
Also in that scene, it's very important that we mentioned the table page.
That's not this scene.
Oh, shit. That's right. That's when she brings him lunch. Oh, my God.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry.
But no, this is where she's like, Mom, now that we actually have customers, we should make your famous bouche de Noël. And her mom was like, I didn't think anyone wanted to eat my bouche de Noël anymore.
Probably because it looks like shit, Mom.
Yes.
It's cracking all over the place.
Now, here's the thing. As someone who has made a Swiss roll before, don't. It will frustrate you. There will be lots of screaming, but it takes a lot of practice. It is one of those desserts that is very fiddly and until you nail it and until you get it right. And the movie posits that her mom has been doing this for years. And then we watch them, first of all, pull the pan out of the oven. And I was like, that's not even enough batter for that pan. And you didn't grease the pan. And that batter is 100% just burned onto the bottom of that pan. And then they take out a swap, like a cooking show. They go to roll it, but it's clearly too dry because it's been sitting out because it's a swap. And because they didn't pre-roll it.
It rolls up like a triangle, guys.
It's like rolling plywood.
Yeah.
It's
like you're trying to roll up a hardwood floor. It's like cracking in planks.
Yeah. And here's the thing. In a world where we have not all seen British Bake Off, where they do a roll challenge every year.
Yeah, it's like in 1 week they do it every year. I think it might be the cake week. I don't know, but they have themes every week.
It's usually either cake or holiday.
Yeah,
and they put it somewhere, right? So in a world where we did not know what a bouche de Noël was supposed to look like, you could get away with this. That is not this world, and so it's like. And then they show right down the barrel the swirl where they've clearly overfilled, and it's pushing out because it's too hot then for the filling. So the filling's melting out. And then they they frost it and they cut to it frosted. And you can clearly see by the proportions of the roll that they did not have enough to make a log. And so they've cut it in half and then tried to frost over it. And I was like, you could have done cupcakes or brownies.
Or literally anything.
Literally anything.
When they brought the first sheet of cake that they were then going to roll up out of the oven, I was like, oh, they made peanut brittle? That's how bad it looks.
That is how bad it looks. You don't even bake. And you were like, no. I mean,
I literally have only watched Bake Off. So I have a little bit of knowledge. I know who Paul Hollywood is, but that's it. So like, and I knew it looked like shit.
Right. It looked crazy. Well, and the second she said, do you think you could make bûche de Noël? I was like, what's next? You're going to make her make a holiday croquembouche? Like, this is a hinky honk kitchen, lady. Like, what do you do? And then when I watched them pour the batter into just that empty blank pan, I was like, no.
Gross.
Absolutely not, guys. You need at least parchment paper, if not silicone mats. What are you doing? Oh, and when they frost it, they put a sprig of rosemary on it. And I guess you could decorate it that way if you want it. But I was like, is that rosemary? Like, all right.
I mean, I don't know.
Fine. At least they didn't try to attempt the meringue mushrooms.
Right. That could have been bad.
That could have been bad. Anyway, she's like, why didn't you tell me things were bad? And she's like, well, you had more important things to do. And she's like, but I couldn't have done it without growing up here. And then her mom says, perhaps the craziest line in this entire movie, where her mom says, when we had our first act at the Rhythm Room, straight out from their premiere at the Grand Ole Opry. And I was like, get the fuck out. Like, you go from the Opry to the Rhythm Room? Get the fuck out of here.
I mean, yeah, the Opry is where you end your careers, guys.
Yes.
Especially if you're normally playing hinky honks.
Yes. It's like me being like, I played the Hollywood Bowl and then I came home to this Halflebee's and did some jokes for the people. Like, it's madness.
Not only have I played on the Grand Ole Opry stage, Paige, I also graduated high school on it. Like,
there you go. There you go. But how many hinky honks?
I've honestly never seen a show there because, like, I've played one. I don't go to shows there because it's mainly country music.
Yeah. Anyway, we cut to the diner, they've been having this conversation in the diner because they were like, we got to get away from that cake that probably smells bad from being burned. And who should conveniently waltz into this diner with no causality but the cab driver dancing? And they're like, what's your name and how do you feel about rhinestones? And he's like still dancing to his like headphones. He's like, Ricky. And I'm like, all right, it's time for Christmas Menudo with Enrique. Let's go. Let's go. So he's now dancing with them too. However, his costumes, I don't know if you noticed this, significantly more queer-coded than anyone else's costumes.
I did notice that. We never get confirmation of anything, but yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, he has no lines. We have no idea. But they do a different themed dance every time. And one would assume we're just seeing different dances within the show or whatever. But they do a Western one, and they are all in very straight cis mask presenting Western wear. And he is dressed like, and I know this will be a very niche reference, a performer named A.B. Solo, who is a queer musical artist, I think, because they do a couple different genres, largely dance. But they are famous for a song called Cha-Cha Bitch. And in the music video are head-to-toe rhinestone cowboy while doing the cha-cha. And that is what he looks like. Like, it looks like he stole A.B. Solo's vest. Anyway, they're dancing. This is where we actually see the bartender really shine, because he's doing, like, they have like a Chippendales-esque thing where they give Chad Michael Murray enough of a solo shot only from the waist up so he can, like, move his abs and get out of the way, because unfortunately, that man struggles to dance. However, he did say that after this movie, he's getting really into dance. And I'm like, that's cool and good for you. And I wish you well. But then the bartender comes up and he has a solo that's like twice as long, because you're like, that guy used to be a Chippendale, I bet.
Yeah, that dude can actually dance. Yeah.
He looks like Patrick Swayze in the SNL Chippendale sketch. And that is not a joke. That's exactly what it looks like. And good on you.
Except I think more ripped, just because HGH wasn't a thing in the 80s.
Yeah, when he does the splits, and then we get the brother-in-law and the sister-in-law, or the sister is in the audience like, that's my man. I was like, I love them. And I also love that they got him, he's got like a little bit more of a dad bod where he isn't like shredded. And I was like, I kind of like that.
Yeah.
Give me some, you know, thicker men's in this dance. But then immediately he is injured. And I was like, oh, conveniently, the one with slight dad bod is the one that they're like, he can't dance with us anymore.
He falls on ice, Paige. He hurts himself.
Yeah. Chad fell down. It's that. But this is where they're like, but we need 4 dancers for the number and we only have 3. And I'm like, this isn't the talent show in Mean Girls. Just dance in your spots. Like, what is this?
Right.
And they like go out, they try, they mess it up, and they're like, we'll be right back, we promise. And I'm like, what? Who is, no. And like, they go backstage, and I'm like, it's absolutely going to be Rex Manning, isn't it?
Of course.
Maxwell Caulfield's about to come out and do this. And he's like, hey, I know the dance. You think I've just been sitting here drinking all day? I know all the dances. I was like, of course he does. Of course.
Yeah, this is when Rex Manning reveals, no, you've been locked in here with me.
Yeah. Now, to give him his flowers, he is in incredible shape for his age.
Yes.
Incredible. It is an interesting choice in this film. And here's the thing. He admittedly can dance. Obviously,
Yeah.
he was in Grease too. Duh. But it's real cringe when it happens in the movie. And my intrusive thought was that I would have killed for a reveal like the Always Sunny high school reunion episode where he's doing the dance and then we just like reveal that that's not at all what happened and he's just stumbling drunk on the stage. And I was like, why does this movie not have the courage to be as hilarious as it could be?
That would have been hilarious if we got like that, like It's Always Sunny moment where he thinks he's dancing
Yes.
and crushing it, but he's actually just like falling and sloshing all over the stage. Love it.
Amazing.
Yeah.
But at this point, they're at almost 20,000 and they are the hottest act in town. And there's like a review talking about it and everyone's so excited. And they're on the TV on like the morning news. And I love that like the newscaster's throwing shade where she's like, oh yeah, I bet your families are proud. Shut up, Linda, and go see the show. Like, come on.
You're working a local news beat. Like, shut up.
Have fun.
Yes. Like you weren't here last night. Come on.
Come on. This is where the bartender gets his one full line, which is like, I haven't seen Luke that happy in a long time. She left him and went back to New York because she liked New York and you're from New York. And so, or I guess it was Chicago, but whatever, the big city. That's why he doesn't like city girls. And I was like, we need a better reason. Also, Act Up by City Girls, classic. How can you not like City Girls? Anyway, in my notes, I just had, this story about why she left needs to be better.
Yeah, because she ended a marriage because she wanted to move back to the city.
Yes, a city that they ostensibly don't live that far from. Like, we don't know really where they live, but like...
Paige, I think Chad Michael Murray might not be a good guy. That's all I'm saying.
Do you think she's buried under his barn?
No, I think she left and he is trying to give a good cover story and he's a bad liar. So he's like, yeah, she just like wanted to live back in the city. But she's sick of dating an alcoholic who compares himself to Jesus because he can fix your carpentry stuff.
Okay, but has anyone seen her recently? Just like, has anyone seen what Genovia was up to and Belgravia was up to during the wars?
I bet he knows where Shelley Miscavige is too.
Oh, Chad, you've got some answering to do. Anyway, so they give her his lunch and she goes to deliver it to his gorgeous barn. It's a beautiful barn.
I don't know why, but they work in that he doesn't own it. He's like, yeah, I keep raising the rent on this place. And I'm like, it's a barn, guys. Let him own a thing. Jesus.
Oh, I thought he owned it.
No, he like complains about the rent of the building in like the first 30 seconds she's there.
Oh, I was too distracted by him working with wood. Anyway, they still don't really have any chemistry. He's crushing it. He's doing a good job, but like there's not much for him to do with what they've given him. And he's making this cool Christmas table. And he's like, it's the first Christmas I've actually felt festive in a while. Do you want to dance? And she's just like, okay. And then they start making out. And I was like, all right, fuck yeah.
Get it, Chad.
Yeah. But she's like, your sandwich is getting cold. And he's like, well, that's not so bad. And I'm like, yeah, fuck the sandwich and bone. Like, let's go. And she's like, oh, I'll see you tonight. And he's like, I might even take my shirt off. And I was like, cause stripper.
You know you laughed like that, though. You laughed like a schoolgirl who just heard her first joke ever. You were like, you can say anything you want, Chad Michael Murray.
But here's where something really crazy happened.
What?
I have commented every time we've done a Netflix Christmas movie on their use of fake Christmas music. And I had not really seen anything too egregious in this one yet, but I had subtitles on. And it was at this point that I realized that the song playing in the background was a little song called All I Want for Christmas Is You. And is it the Mariah Carey version? No. it's a completely different song that uses that exact phrase that we shall not steal from Queen Mariah.
Oh, yeah, it's the Mariah Mary one.
Yeah, it was absolutely another song designed to use that phrase so that they could title it that way and get people to accidentally buy it on iTunes because they clicked on the wrong thing. Like 100%.
Perfect. It's like Best of the Beatles. I love it.
Yeah. In this scene, you just hear the end of like, all I want for Christmas is you. And I was like, no, what? Anyway, they are at $23,095, which anytime they are also, when they make it, it's $30,095. I was like, what's the extra 95 for? Who knows? No one, who's to say? Anyway, it's their costume budget. Jody calls, and Jody was the lady who was like, you're too old to be a rockette. And she's calling, and she's just like, that other girl burnt out and left, and her understudy has, how did she say, flurona, like the flu and coronavirus. I was like, she gonna die.
Yeah.
That's not good. But she's like, big mistake letting you go. You can come back with a 3-year contract and a 25% raise. And she's like, well, I'd have to consider. And I was like, she ain't going. She ain't going.
They really play up that she is going, though, for like a long time.
They try, but anyone who's seen any of these movies is like, no, her home is where Chad Michael Murray's abs are. And we all know this.
We do all know this.
So quit jerking us around. Like, if they really wanted to play that she was going, they would let her go and him move to the city for her, like he wouldn't do for the wife that's buried under his workshop.
Exactly.
Anyway, she shows up to talk to her parents, and she's like, yeah, they asked me to come back. And the parents are like, and you told them to go fuck themselves because you have an ageism lawsuit about them firing you?
And she was like, well, I can be bought. And that be bought is 25% more. So like, love you parents, but fuck off. You're going to lose the bar. I'm out.
No. And they're like, well, hey, we just want you to be happy. So of course, go live your dream. You have to live your life for you. I was like,
they do take it well. They're very kind about it.
Yeah. Sure, great advice. But in my notes, I just have, no, but Luke and his body.
Oh, and she was firmly able to tell the people who raised her, gave her everything, sacrificed to build her life in a way that she could chase that dream and attain it. She fully was like, no, you guys are on your own, I'm out. But the second the hot dude was like, well, I guess we have to break up, she was like, no, I'll stay then. We met a week ago and I'm in love. Like, it was a wild flip.
They have only known each other for 2.5 weeks, but also Firm recognizes Firm. You know what I'm saying?
Gross. So you're saying Chad Michael Murray and the bartender should end together?
Oh, I'd watch it, my friend.
They have an 18-pack between them.
Great. That's usually a discount over buying a 12-pack. You save on the extra cans. Anyway, she texts that she's going to accept the job. And then she goes to tell everyone that she's like, I'm leaving. They offered me my job back. She tells Luke first. And he gave her, after the first show or whatever, this really, really awful necklace. It's just like a giant gold wreath. And I'm like, did you get this out of a vending machine? This is so strange.
Hey, guys, hand me my Cracker Jack box. I got to give this woman a gift.
You could have spray painted a Fruit Loop and put it on a string and it would have looked about the same. And he's like holding onto her necklace and she's like holding his hand, holding onto the necklace. I was like, this would be hot if there was any chemistry. Because he's just like, what about us? And she's just like, shrug.
She's like, can you give me 25% more? I didn't think so. I'm out.
She doesn't even ask him to go with her, like, which is crazy. Like, and again, they've only known each other for 2.5 weeks.
Yeah, I wouldn't ask him either. Like, we barely know each other. We kissed once.
Yeah, she's like, I lose everything I worked for in my career. He's like, what about everything we worked for? And I'm like, yeah, it's been 2 weeks, technically. I mean, like, this has been a fun fling. But she's literally just like, shrug. And I was like, what a wild choice, but okay.
And this isn't a red flag necessarily for Chad Michael Murray. He's just like, all right, I'll let this one slide this early on in the relationship because this definitely doesn't display a behavior that will definitely lead to relationship ending things.
Well, she goes home to think about it and hold on to that really ugly necklace while she looks at that crazy Santa photo that has definitely been recropped from the photo.
But like, you're looking at this terrible gift and a terrible photo and you're like, maybe she should just leave. Like, this town's not great. Like, sure, CMM is hot, but like, there's hot dudes in New York too.
Yeah, and high kicks and money and all kinds of stuff.
And that adult recreational tap class that she needs to get back and attend.
Yes. And her parents are like, we loved having you home. Don't let them push you around. Have fun back in New York. And she goes to the hinky honk to say goodbye to everyone. And she says goodbye to her sister. And she's like, have you talked to Luke? And she's like, I called, but he won't answer my calls. He doesn't want to talk to me. She's like, well, maybe you should try harder. I was like, bitch, it's been 2 weeks. Like, what? And she's like, should I be on his lawn with a boombox? She's like, maybe that would help. But like, I know you had feelings for him. She's like, yeah, the most feelings in a long time. But oh, well, tap dance, and like goes to leave. And we reveal that he's literally working on one of the tables because they're still making him work as the maintenance man, even though he's dancing for them every night. And so he heard the whole thing. And I'm like, the sister definitely knew he was there. I was like, her sister does not have her best interest at heart. She's kind of a backstabber.
She's a planner. Her sister's playing chess and everyone else is playing checkers.
Yeah.
And she wants her younger sister to move and stay there. So she's trying to get her sister some really good locally sourced dick, Paige.
Yeah.
Let her cook.
I mean, that local organic do be hitting sometimes.
She's doing it for the family, Paige.
Anyway, she goes to leave. She gets stuck in traffic. Meanwhile, the dancers basically have like band infighting that they immediately get over to do a whole new dance thing.
Yes.
But Chad Michael Murray goes to do his part of the dance and he looks into the audience. He doesn't see her friendly face. And he's like, I can't do it. And then she runs in because she got stuck in the traffic and is like, oh, I'm not going to make that flight anyway. So she runs in and he's just like, great, turn the music back on. And he's a whole beat off.
And nobody fixed it in post, which would be easy because he's not saying lines. Like, you don't need to sync up like audio.
Yeah, they did him wrong.
Yeah.
It's not good. And in my notes, I just have, can he not dance? How has he been hiding it this whole movie?
Because his shirt's been off and you've been like glamored.
Yeah. I'm abmatized. But also, this is why they've had him mostly in the back of all the dances.
Yeah. He's the actor in the bunch, Paige. Everyone else is like, they can dance pretty much and they can act a little.
But then he crawls on the stage toward her and I forgot everything he did wrong ever.
Paige, I have to point out that when he crawls on the stage towards her, he's already at the front of the stage.
Yes.
I literally wrote in my notes, watching Chad Michael Murray pretend to sexy crawl to the front of the stage when he started at the front of the stage was the best part of the last dance in the movie.
But it's all shoulders and I'm here for it. And she's like, I turned them down. I couldn't do it. And I felt terrible because I dragged you into this. And you should have been the first person I told, even though I've only known you for 2 weeks.
Yeah, I should have definitely told you before my parents.
Right. And he's like, I'm so glad I found you. And they make out in front of everybody. They constantly kiss in front of her whole family.
It's like they're at a Chewy's and not the Rhythm Room.
Right. Not a hinky honk, but like a tonguey.
A tonguey tonk?
A tonguey tonk, because it's like full open mouth kissing. It's not church tongue a la Wedding Singer. It's like porny and I love it, but like I wish her parents weren't there. But they hit the 30,000. Yay! We cut to the next day. They are having Christmas dinner in the hinky honk and she invites the landlord, who apparently had nothing better to do on Christmas Day.
I thought it was insane that when they were like, hey, come down on Christmas to get the money, the landlord wasn't like, no, I'll come down a few days after. It's fine. I realize it's due, but like, you can hold on to it for a few more. I got Christmas stuff. I can't. I'm sorry.
Yeah. What? Just tell me you have it and I'll, yeah.
I know, right? But like, she does come down. She hands over like an envelope of $30,000 in stone cold cash to her landlord, which is the dumbest thing you could ever do, is give your landlord money that's not traceable, right? You need that paper trail receipt.
That's what's up.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Because there's no way that landlord didn't sit down at that table and eat their delicious food and then walk back, deposit that cash, call him and be like, hey, when are you going to pay me that $30,000?
Because there's no paper trail and she could just take that money and run off to Belgravia, which is probably the sequel. It's probably the sequel. Anyway, we then cut to them walking around outside for Christmas. And she's like, what's your favorite Christmas memory? And he's like, this one. And they make out. But then the camera pulls back and the whole family's just standing there with coffees watching them make out.
Paige, the older sister, has been like masterfully planning this the whole movie. Yes, of course they're going to watch the end result. That's like when they pull out like the awesome cake at the end of a Julia Child thing.
Yep. And that's the movie.
So what did you think about The Merry Gentleman?
Ooh, no. I think I will just play Christmas music while I watch Magic Mike XXL. Thank you.
I mean, it's definitely better than this, Magic Mike XXL is. Although I do think this is a movie you could throw on while you're decorating your Christmas tree.
Sure.
Or like wrapping gifts or like folding laundry. Something where you like don't need to pay attention but just want to watch hot dudes be hot shirtless. Watch this movie. I also think I'm going to start doing something very childish, and that is make everyone watch this movie. And then in the scene where Chad Michael Murray reveals his boxers that say Naughty Elf on it, I'm just going to lean in and go, because it does like zoom in on his butt.
Yeah, if you just layered some fart sounds over it, that would have been great.
Perfect. I also want to point out the dialogue in this movie is trash. There's at one point, I'm pretty sure it's when they only have 3 members, but magically need a 4th to make the dance work. He says, keep your shirts on because we're about to take ours off.
Yeah.
And the only item of clothing he's not wearing is a shirt.
Yeah, I
More or less like black overalls.
Suspenders.
Sure, but he's wearing everything but a shirt. And he just said, keep your shirt on because we're about to take ours off. Sir, you're not wearing a shirt now.
I'll do you one better. He has cuffs and a collar, but no central shirt.
Was he told that his shirt is invisible? And does he think he's wearing one?
I hope so.
Anyway, this movie is a hot pile of trash that you should watch.
Yeah, have fun. Yeah.
But do other things while you're watching it.
Yeah, if you're a One Tree Hill girly, watch this shit.
Oh, yeah.
Watch it. You know you like it. This got creepy really fast. Anyway, yeah, there's no fun facts because it just came out.
So, Paige, do you want to hit us with some fun facts?
No!
Didn't think so. Here's the deal. Also, no box office because it's a Netflix movie. I couldn't find a budget. Everyone was just saying extremely low. And I was like, I could buy that. Yeah. This was filmed in a shoebox and then a half of an Applebee's.
Yes. A Halflebee's.
Yes, a Halflebee's, if you will. I disliked this movie so much, I did some Googling and found what I can only imagine is a way better movie called The Merry Gentleman that came out in 2009, I think.
Okay.
Let me read the synopsis of this movie to you. A woman leaves an abusive husband to start a new life in Chicago. What does that sound like to you? Does that sound like what happened to Chad Michael Murray's wife?
So she's alive. Thank goodness.
When I read just the synopsis, I was like, oh my God, is this a sequel to Michael Keaton's The Merry Gentleman from 2009? And that's his wife? Come on, Paige.
I mean, I feel like the evidence is there.
Anyway, I could give you the box office for the Merry Gentleman from 2009 that Michael Keaton directed, but I'm not gonna.
Okay.
But there's nothing for this movie either, sorry. But Paige, do you want to hit us with that romance scale, I guess?
Our romance scale is a scale of 1 of how many... One,
scale,
not just one.
Our romance scale is a scale of 1 for this movie. And honestly, Paige, you're not wrong. So let's just go. Because it's a 1 for me, dog.
It's a 1 for me, too. On the roar scale, I would also give this like a 1, maybe a 1.2.
Oh, come on,
or 3
Paige.
for the kisses, but that's a stretch. That's a stretch. On the ab scale, I give it 8.
Which famously is a 1 through 8 scale.
Yeah, famously a 1 through 8 scale.
And this movie does have all of them. Like if you're into abs or just King's Hawaiian rolls, like you probably like this movie.
Yeah, you even get to see Chad Michael Murray's backboard, basically, when they're measuring him in those very low-cut jeans.
Yeah.
Yep. Hey, Todd, do you have any reviews for us?
I do. I'm going to read this Spotify comment from our most recent episode that came out, which, believe it or not, was our Showgirls episode. And
Versace!
Natalie's so good at the editing now, I rarely listen to the episodes back, but I was listening to some just to make sure the bleeps got in there when I said my friend's name.
Yes, and it was hilarious.
And they did. But like, man, the Showgirls episode was crazy. Anyway, I'm going to read Xenon's Spotify comment. They said, I'd usually listen to this podcast while at the gym, but for this episode, I might actually injure myself from laughing, so I'll just listen to it in my bedroom.
Nice.
Yeah, it was a fun episode. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And if you want to enjoy hearing me read your Spotify comment, leave us a Spotify comment and or Apple 5-star review, and I'll read it for you. Paige, this week, you made us watch The Merry Gentleman. We're continuing the theme of Christmas movies, right?
Of course. And we might go longer than December if we choose. Now, Netflix has given us a wealth of choices this Christmas. So I do have a potential Netflix movie that just came out for Christmas if you want to watch that. Or we have a Christmas sequel to a movie that we have done on this podcast earlier that it's high time that we visit. So you can choose between one of the two. I would like to do them both in this Christmas run, but whichever one that you want to choose first.
So I guess we got to go sequel, right?
All right, then it is The Best Man Holiday
Son
coming
of
up
a
next.
Bitch. Okay. All right. Okay.
It's going to be even crazier.
How is that possible? Is it Tyler Perry Presents?
No, I don't think it's Tyler Perry, but it is if you remember, this is the one where Taye Diggs wrote a book about all his friends.
Oh, that's right. I was thinking of the other one where they all get like trapped in a lodge together.
Right. That's Why Did I Get Married, I believe is.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking is. So this is The Best Man 2. It's actually called The Best Man Holiday. Okay.
Yes.
Came out in 2013. Interesting.
There's a famous striptease dance scene in this. I'm very excited about it.
All right. Well, I can't wait to see Morris Chestnut stripped down in Best Man Holiday, but that's your homework for next week.
Let's do it.
So yeah, if you guys like this show and want to hear our other show where we talk about horror movies, that is The Horror Virgin. That's the only other podcast I am on, but Paige is also on Cult Podcast, which you can find at Cult Podcast. And you can find us on social media. I am at Todd J. Awesome, literally everywhere. Paige is at Paige Wesley on Instagram.
No, it's at Rampage Wesley on Instagram and TikTok, at Paige Wesley on Twitter.
That's right. All right. So that's where you can find Paige. If you want to find the show, we are at Romancing the Pod Show, right?
Yep. Romancing Pod Show on Twitter.
Well, and Instagram, right?
And Instagram, but it's show SHO because character limits. If you start typing Romancing the Pod, it'll come up.
It'll definitely come up on Instagram. I don't know about Twitter because I haven't posted on Twitter in a hot ass minute. So like, who knows? But that is where you can find more of us. So yeah, guys, give us a follow. Support the show any way you can. We'd love it.
Smash that like button.
Hell yeah.
That's going to be it for us, you guys. I'm Paige.
And I'm Todd.
And you complete us.
Christmas
to
pletion.
Strip-pletion.
Oh, strip pletion. Bye.
Hinky honk.
Tinky tonk nerds.
La 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 la.